Yo, 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 what's going on, fam? It's your boy Tahir Johnson, rocking with the Cannabis Diversity Report. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce my girl, Cherron Perry Thomas, the co-founder and director of social impact of the Diasporic Alliance for Cannabis Opportunities. So dope to have my sister from my neighbor right next door in Philly in the building, man, doing some dope stuff out there, but really that's impacting our community that I'm looking forward to being a part of. And I'm happy to have you on here talk to us. Cherron, what's going on? How are you?
Yes, look, I am doing well, a little frazzled because our policy summit starts tomorrow, and I'm just really looking forward to having a great, impactful event. So much of what this industry has done has excluded us, and one of the things that we really want to do and aim to do is make sure that we're always centering us. We're always centering Black. So, Black Cannabis Week is from September, started on Sunday, September the 18th, and it goes till Sunday, September the 25th. And with anything, when it comes to us, we have to talk about the history. So, our first day, which is our history day. And that's when we launched. We talked about a little history. Before I get to that, let me just let you know that people can find some of our recordings and some of the videos at blackcannabisweek.com on YouTube, or you can also go to the YouTube channel, which is also Black Cannabis Week. There's 7 days in Black Cannabis Week, and each day there's a different theme. And that theme is something that we want to make sure it resonates with our community. If that's the conversation on veterans, if that's the conversation on business, hemp, social justice, these are all areas that we feel that we need to center our communities in this conversation around cannabis. So many people get into this industry because it's just about the money, it's about the bag, but I personally see it as a way to repair our communities, as a way to help our communities to be whole and well again. So we want to make sure that we bring in speakers and presenters like you to share your story, because if we don't see it, then we can actually think that we can achieve it. So we need to see more of us, hear more stories like your story, so that we know that yes, it's possible. So our virtual events have been kicking off every day. 5 o'clock, we're dropping new conversations. And then this weekend, we have our Cannabis Opportunities Conference, and that will be hosted for the 5th year at Temple University all weekend long for free. So when we talk about barriers in our community, some of it is economics. I remember the first year we did a survey, found out that at least 60% of the attendees had 4-year plus college degrees. However, many of these people had never been to a cannabis conference, so it wasn't like they couldn't afford it, or it wasn't like they didn't know about it, but they didn't want to pay for something where they didn't know what to expect. So you come to the Cannabis Opportunities Conference in Philly, you can expect at the very least to see people who look like you. You are not just a dot in the milk. Like you are like, I remember the first year somebody called it like the Wakanda of cannabis. So if I could take that term, I definitely will, and we can call it the Wakanda of cannabis. All things good.
Yes, yes, it's dope. We need our Wakanda sometime, right? And it's so
Mhm.
important what you're doing, telling those stories. And I'm thankful that having the, you always giving me the platform to tell mine, because for me it was hearing those stories that made me, be able to get in and do the same thing. If it wasn't for reading about people like Hope and Dr. Shonda and Wanda, like Linda, like connecting with all of those people earlier on, like following them, showing me love, it's like that's what helped me get there. So I'm always trying to, do the same thing for other people and share. And like I said, I got love for Philly, man. That's like home. So talk a little bit more about how did you, like you said, this is the 5th year, doing the conference, and it's grown into the whole Black Cannabis Weeks, other events, other people, all working together. Talk a little bit about how you, how you came to start DACO, and some of who are some of the people that people can expect to see at this conference, because you didn't even get to that. That policy summit has some amazing people and heavy hitters speaking. So first, who are some of the people that people are going to see when they come out, and then talk about like the history and how you got to start it and what some of the work you've been doing.
Yeah, so I'll go back to how did I get to this point? I mean, my background is in sales and marketing in the natural products industry. So a lot of the products that you see in health food stores like Whole Foods, Wegmans, Moms down in your area, like that is what my company does. So I've always been in the wellness space. And many of my first companies happened to be hemp companies, mostly coming from Canada as well as India. And so I've always been told that this cannabis or this weed or hemp, this was bad. It was something that's terrible for our community. I even stigmatize, the people myself. I'm like, oh, like y'all still doing that? That's bringing us down. But I didn't even understand that without people like me and my family like that, it couldn't have ever been an industry in this country. It was really the first crop of this United States. Like people talk about corn and weed and all that. No, it was hemp. It was hemp. Before there was cotton, it was hemp. So we've always have had an integral part in the growth of this industry. And unfortunately, that industry was cut short because of racism. And for me, I'm always trying to, practice the thought of a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice, like everywhere. So if you are incarcerated because of something that was legal turned illegal and now legal again, then that's something that we have to talk about. That's something that we have to advocate for and that we have to fight for. So part of the space for me is civil rights and social justice and human rights. We should have a choice as people who are interested in being well to have a spectrum of wellness, and that should not be cut off just because, again, of racism or because someone is or something is blocking us from achieving that. So for me, this space is definitely about how can we heal our community. The way that I really dived in was really simply by going to some of the cannabis conferences and realizing that when I first went, I thought I was going to see so many people like me. That did not happen. So I'm like, okay, let's change this up because we're the ones being impacted. We're the ones that need this information and understand what this industry is about to do in this century, not years ago, but right now. So I wanted to make sure that I brought this information back to my community and bringing it like front facing, where you see people who look like you see professionals who look like you see elected officials who look like you. Because we know in most communities, when you see that, you can actually relate more. Yes, Dr. Shonda was one of our first speakers, and her
You
presentation.
know my Howard girl.
I know it, right? Yeah, like she was one of our first um, keynote speakers because and we got so many comments from people who just simply did not know at the level that cannabis had evolved and grew, and the research and the information, and it was really helpful for a lot of people. I also know that Dr. Shonda is one out of thousands of Black and Brown people in this country who are able to share. So we now have evolved to just really open up the gate to allow most of our community who, again, have expertise, who have experience, who have, stories that they can share with our community. This is a holistic approach. This is about all of us, as we continue to take this journey. I mean, we're just at the beginning point of where this industry will take all of us. And I think at the end of the day, it will definitely support and help us, but not only us, but also help the planet. So you asked me, like, who will be there at the policy day? And first of all, why is policy so important?
Hey, tell 'em,
Yes,
why is policy so important? Let them know, Sherrod. Tell them that we don't make we not part of the rules. They gonna make them for us, right? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
exactly. Exactly. And that's the problem, because um, so many, I hear so many young people, oh, I'm not voting, I'm not doing that stuff. If January the 6th did not show you what it was that you needed to do, I don't know what else could, because other communities and other people are organizing. It's not in, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not in our best interest. It is not in our best interest. So we need to organize in our best interest. So part of that, of understanding what your best interest is really looking at the policymakers and the legislators who are actually in place to listen to you, to affect change in light of what is happening in the world, but to really legislate policy that's going to help you. So we need policy that is going to look out for our community. But again, if we're not at the table, well, guess what? We just being served. So we bring these legislators in. So because we are having this policy summit in Philadelphia, we focus on some of those legislators who are here. A lot of this is in partnership with Senator Sharif Street, who is the third congressional, third district of Philadelphia. We also have Jordan Harris, who is also a state rep Dorisha Parker, state rep Chris Rabb, and someone who has been instrumental in cannabis in our city is Derrick Green. He just resigned from city council to run for mayor in our city, and he understands, particularly from a health view as well as an economic view. And then we also have Curtis Jones. So, and one that I did not mention, who's not from the Philadelphia or Pennsylvania area, is U.S. Senator Cory Booker, who
Yes,
has,
Jersey in
yes,
the house. Yeah, Jersey
a
in the
little Jersey. Yeah, a little
like
Jersey.
our neighbors, Jersey neighbors in the building.
Right, Jersey neighbors who are in the building, who have been making sure that the legislation has positive impacts for those communities who have been harmed the most.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm definitely looking forward to it. Got to shout out. I know Senator Booker, he's been holding it down.
Mhm.
And I mean he's one of my idols, right? So I'm looking forward to getting to actually see him speak in person about cannabis for the first time. So I know I'm speaking at the place, but I can't wait to like be there and absorb it. And really like Pennsylvania, Philly, could you talk, I mean, Philly and Pennsylvania, could you talk about like what are some of the important things, like what's going on in Pennsylvania, like cannabis policy? Because for people that may be listening that don't know, Is there anything that people should be supporting, keeping their eyes on? I know like there was just an expungement thing that just happened recently where
Yep.
people could get it. It's
Yep.
still open. They're still available.
That,
Talk about yeah.
yeah, that is open. So our Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who's running for Senate, is head of the pardons. Celeste Trusty, who is our Secretary of Pardons, they will be speaking on the pardon process and social justice also on that Friday on a separate panel along with Senator Sharif Street. Now, why this PA marijuana pardons is so important is because it allows anyone to type in to a website or to scan a QR code and to be able to start the process for their own pardon. This will be effective until September the 30th. And of course, a lot of people are a little upset as to why only until September the 30th. Well, it takes about 60 days. By that time, not only would we have a new lieutenant governor, but we also may have a new governor and a new secretary of pardons. So they've decided in the short time that they have to make sure that those people who needed to get expunged and get expunged like in a hurry right now, particularly when they had cannabis offenses, that they could do it in a fast, easy way. We've even put the barcode on all of our flyers, posters, cards, and passing them out. And I tell you, it has really been interesting. I was helping one young man and he was like, yeah, I got a lot of stuff I need to I need to get my record cleared. And so as I'm entering his information, and really all you have to do is like enter your name to see what dockets you already have, what's open, and everything said closed. He's been living a life of not applying for certain jobs, not applying for certain housing, because he thought everything that he had that was on his record was still open. And it was such a lift for him to know that these things were closed and he no longer had to do, walk in like this, undercover way that he was doing before because he had so much on his record. But again, what you don't know, it can really hurt you. And in that case, it was really hurting him because he was not applying for certain jobs and so on, as he shared with me.
Yeah, well, that's super important. That's super important work. Like, just that process. And, if you are listening, if you're in Pennsylvania, if you got fam in Pennsylvania, tell them you got until the end of February, like to get that.
No, 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 no. The end of September. September.
September. Oh shoot. So like, yeah, like you got a couple of days, like till like the end of next week. So
Mhm.
tell the Pennsylvania fam to file for those expungements for real, because what time is that panel? I need to watch that one.
Yeah, so that one is at 4 o'clock. Yeah, so that one is at so that one's from 4 to 5:30. So again, it's like, we really want to center our community, and we know that the incarceration rate, I mean, every rate pretty much in the system, we are the highest. And so understanding this pardon process, it's going to be key and fundamental to changing a lot of lives. And so we want to make sure people have the proper information to be able to do that. And that's why we are having them here on Friday. And like I said, that panel starts at 4, and the other cannabis policy forum will start at 2:30. All of these will be streaming live, and people can go to Black Cannabis Week. Our YouTube channel will be streaming these live.
Yes, and tell people the time and the time, place, and location if they want to come through and attend in person as well.
Yeah, so again, this is a free conference, and I know a lot of times people feel like it's free. Let me just walk up. Well, I'm here to tell you, Temple has some very strict security, so we do need your name. So I will say if you can go online and register at blackcannabisweek.com, the tickets are free. We just need to have you on the list as an attendee. Um, Friday. It starts at we start at 12:30 for the policy summit. I believe we have the senator kicking us off at 12:30. I believe you are like around 1, and then we'll come back we'll take a break. It is Juma, it's Friday. We'll take a break, come back at 2:30, and lead into those policy conversations.
Yes, yes. Well, Cherron, thank you so much for coming through, y'all. You know that, like she said, the website, Black Cannabis Week is streaming across the bottom right now. So, you know, go check that out. Make sure you register in advance because you're not just going to roll up and get up in there. So make sure you do that. And y'all, thank you so much for rocking with us. Another week of the Cannabis Diversity Report. I will see y'all there at Black Cannabis Week, like she said, on Friday. Up in Jersey and Atlantic City at Cannademics, and then back in Maryland on Saturday. Man, it's a busy weekend for me, man. And so, you know, Cherron, I love you again. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for having me on Friday. Looking forward to it. And thank you all y'all wherever you're listening or watching. And peace.